Ukrainian parliamentarians want the United States to lift the restriction on not hitting Russian territory with the military equipment supplied to Kiev. According to them, because of this restriction, Moscow was able to amass troops near the border in the Kharkiv region to launch its current offensive, without the Ukrainian military being able to prevent it. Let's look at some details of this information. Ukrainian authorities are asking Washington to allow the use of American equipment to strike Russia after the Russian army launched an offensive in Kharkiv, according to a political website. A group of Ukrainian parliamentarians is in Washington seeking support on this issue, as the Ukrainian army hopes to hit Russian military depots to slow the advance of the army in the Kharkiv region. According to David Arakamia, head of Ukraine's ruling party, Servant of the People, during a visit to the U.S. Capitol, the main problem now is the White House policy limiting their ability to attack military targets within Russia. Alexandra Ustinova, deputy head of Ukraine's Special Parliamentary Commission on Armaments, said that Moscow was building up a military group near the borders of the Kharkiv region, without fear of being hit by American long-range missiles. We saw their troops 1 or 2 kilometers from the border inside Russia, and we could not do anything about it, she said. 2 U.S. officials speaking to the political website, under conditions of anonymity, said that President Joe Biden's administration policy had not changed and that the American equipment supplied to Kyiv was intended for defense, not offensive actions on Russian territory, as this was one of the conditions for supplying these to Kyiv. However, Ukrainian authorities insist on using American equipment, as the Ukrainian armed forces' drone attacks on Russian oil and military installations have not had a broader effect on their troops. Everyone knew that the Russians near Kharkiv were gathering a workforce moving a lot of artillery, so now they are trying to turn Kharkiv into a second Mariupol or Aleppo. We keep coming back to the same problem, which is Russia dictating what we should do, Ustinova concluded. In early May, U.S. President Joe Biden announced the shipment of $400 million in military aid to Kyiv. This package would include missiles for Patriot air defense systems, Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, MRAP armored vehicles, and Javelin anti-tank missile systems. Some of this equipment is already on the front lines and more will arrive this week, said U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. At the same time, the head of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, Kirilo Budanov, spoke about the critical situation of Ukrainian armed forces in the Kharkiv region, where Russian troops launched an offensive on May 10th. According to him, by attacking in the north, Russia is trying to force the Ukrainian command to transfer troops from other sectors of the front, especially near Donetsk, where battles are taking place for the strategically important city of Chasiv Yar. Ukrainian forces may stabilize the front in the coming days, but Russia is preparing to launch an offensive north of Kharkiv in the Sumy region, Budanov said. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke about hostile activities against the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. According to him, Russia is trying to expand the conflict by sending sabotage groups there and intensifying shelling. In recent days, Russia has regained ground captured by Ukraine last year during its counteroffensive, which pushed Russian forces back to the other side of the border in the region. On Monday, SW assessed that Russian forces had already captured several towns near the border and were destroying bridges to make it difficult for Ukraine to counterattack. Movements suggesting that Russian forces are prioritizing creating a buffer zone rather than a deeper penetration. Russian President Vladimir Putin said in March that he was considering establishing a buffer zone near Kharkiv to make it difficult for Ukraine to launch drones against Russian oil infrastructure, a tactic that Kyiv has been using for months to hit the Russian economy. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you want to support our work, leave your like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to encourage us to produce more videos like this.